Combined, they went 13 for 13 in 2009.
Perfect 10 for 10. Zenyatta.
Rachel Alexandra geared down by Calvin Burrell. Rachel Alexandra with a win of quality and class.
Included 9 Grade 1 victories.
And just look at her go. Zenyatta with condescending ease. Her march to greatness continues. Rachel Alexandra.
She dominated the racing in the Midwest and on the East Coast.
Oh, a tour de force by the Super Filly.
She dominated the racing on the West Coast.
This is unbelievable! Zenyatta!
She was crowned 2009 Horse of the Year.
There has never been another year like this year for fillies.
She was supposed to retire.
We know this girl a long time. It's going to be difficult to see her go.
Those plans have been scrapped. Zenyatta is back, and if all goes well today, it's back to Arkansas,
But Zenyatta, under Mike Smith, is going to pull away.
where she'll finally meet Rachel Alexandra, who also preps today for the event already being called the Race for the Ages. Champions return next on HRTV. Santa Anita Park in Arcadia, California, site of Zenyatta's biggest victory to date and site of her 2010 debut. 1,900 miles away, the Crescent City, New Orleans, Louisiana, home to the Super Bowl champs and home to the 2009 Horse of the Year, Rachel Alexandra. That is a live look. She is expected to make it look easy in the Big Easy. It was just 7 weeks ago that Rachel Alexandra was voted as the 2009 Horse of the Year. And at the time, the Rachel Alexandra Zenyatta Rachel Alexandra debate looked like it would live on forever without any of us ever actually seeing them run against each other. Now, less than 2 months later, a head-to-head matchup between two of the greatest mares the sport has ever seen is a realistic possibility. Welcome everyone to Grandstand in this special edition, the Champions Return. I'm your host, Lafitte Pinkai. Jeff Siegel joins me live, and while this sport will always be regarded as the sport of kings, this particular era belongs to the ladies.
What a decade we've had. You go to Rags to Riches and Zarkava and Goldakova, and now, of course, Rachel Alexandra and Zenyatta. And Zenyatta here, Rachel down in New Orleans, and we're looking forward to them both returning to top form and eventually meeting next month in Arkansas.
Seabiscuit War Admiral, Swaps Nashua, Sunday Silence Easy Goer. If they meet in a few weeks in Arkansas, would this head-to-head matchup be as significant, be as special?
Yeah, I think so. Of course, those were horses that had raced against each other. This is a first-time thing. Kind of reminds me, kind of like in a different sport, the Ali Frazier get-together at Madison Square Garden in '71 when no one really knew who was better until they actually met. And I guess we have backers on both sides. Of course, Rachel Alexandra. Her resume looks pretty impressive.
You know, in case you've been hiding under a rock, this is why Rachel Alexandra was just crowned Horse of the Year. A flawless 3-year-old campaign, Jeff, highlighted by 3 victories at the Grade 1 level over her male counterparts.
Who will ever forget her incredible performance in the Kentucky Oaks and, of course, winning the Preakness as well. She was Horse of the Year. She deserved it, and now she tries to do it again as a 4-year-old.
To New Orleans we go. Fairgrounds at Racetrack in the Bayou, where Rachel Alexandra captured the Fairground Oaks last season. The New Orleans Ladies Stakes, Rachel 1-9 and 4 brave souls taking her on.
And Rachel, of course, at 1-9, and she's probably as low a price as a horse can be. With 11 minutes to post, she certainly can run well fresh, and she certainly figures to beat this field if she's maybe 80%, which is what they say. She might not be quite fit to be at her best.
Undefeated last year, but she has lost in the past. You have to go back to her 2-year-old campaign. As for Zenyatta, 14 for 14. In this day and age of sports and horse racing, that is truly remarkable.
And that's what makes it kind of a nervous time out here in California. I mean, as you mentioned, Rachel's been beaten, so if she loses, no streak is broke. But Zenyatta trying to remain perfect, obviously we expect her to do just that. She has been perfect. Her best race of her career obviously came over this track last fall on Breeders' Cup Day.
Well, nobody has been more confident about Zenyatta's abilities than her jockey, Mike Smith. He calls her, quote, bottomless. The Hall of Famer standing by with Millie Ball. Millie.
Mike Smith plans on keeping the winning streak alive. And let's face it, Mike, morning line 1-9. You're expected to win today, even though this is horse racing. How do you channel the pressure today?
Well, like I always do. I mean, of course, these are high-pressure situations, especially when you're going for 15 in a row. But, you know, focus. You know, a lot of energy there right now, you know. And when people tell you they're not nervous, they're lying to you. But it's how you channel that energy. And I'm just really excited to get her back to the races. I actually believe that she's training better than last year, Millie. And she's going to run a big race today. We just need our opportunity. And if given that, we might see something pretty cool today.
So confident is Mike Smith, especially when the cameras are off, Jeff. I don't think losing ever actually crosses his mind, and that's why I don't think he really feels the pressure when he rides Zenyatta.
Well, he especially in a race like this where, you know, she's training like she's every bit as good as she was. That's no concern. The weight shouldn't be a concern. The racetrack's not the concern, and certainly the competition is not either. But Zenyatta still, she's looking up to Rachel. Rachel's got that Horse of the Year trophy, and Zenyatta would like to have one too.
Make no mistake, had she not won the Breeders' Cup Classic, that tally would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of 210-10. The Breeders' Cup Classic made it that much closer, but still not enough for Zenyatta to dethrone Rachel Alexandra for Horse of the Year. Meanwhile, Rachel Alexandra, who is 1-9, we go back to New Orleans. On-site coverage continuing. Gary Stevens, Scott Hazelton. Gentlemen, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Lafitte, as we are just about 10 minutes away from the return of the reigning Horse of the Year, Rachel Alexandra. The crowd has moved from the paddock to try to position themselves on the rail to get a look at this filly coming back now at the age of 4. And Gary, in sports, to be a champion is one thing, but to come back the following year and repeat what you did to set such a standard like Rachel Alexandra has done for herself is another thing, and that's what she's going to try to embark upon this afternoon with her 2010 debut.
She's a bigger, stronger filly. We saw that firsthand here about 5 minutes ago walking past us. She was handling herself very, very well. The crowd down here, it was raucous, it was loud, and she managed herself very well.
Well, part of the connections, aside from Jess Jackson, of course, is Steve Asmussen, who is the reigning trainer of the year from 2009. And Calvin Burrell coming off of another career year in 2009 with Mind That Bird winning the Kentucky Derby, as well as his run with Rachel Alexandra. And earlier in the afternoon, we got a chance to catch up with both. And the big question for Steve is, how have things gone in preparing for the return of Rachel Alexandra?
It hasn't been ideal. You know, we had a lot of wet weather in December. A record amount of rainfall here, and then some freezing temperatures in January, which we're definitely not accustomed to this far south. But the filly's trained well. She's got an exceptional amount of ability, and we're hoping for a very good performance from her today. But a lot of questions to be asked.
Are you worried about her acting up this afternoon in post-parade?
Well, definitely so. You know, pre-race in the Woodward in the post-parade, you know, she unseated Calvin. Scott's been ponying her in the morning, and Scott's going to pony her this afternoon. We just want everything to go right. Her state of mind going into this year with everything that we have planned for, we want it to start off on the right foot.
Very excited. I'm ready for her to come back home, you know, come back to me. And, you know, like I was telling my agent, you know, she wouldn't be running if Steve wouldn't have her ready, you know, and Steve knows what he's doing. And, you know, we're going to run today and see where we're at and, you know, maybe, you know, let her do her thing and win easy, hands down, you know, and not gut her too much. And I know what Steve's doing, you know, pointing for the next race. And we got all together, me, him, and Scott, and Steve. And she's doing wonderful. I seen her this morning. She looks good. So we're just going to go from there.
I mean, post-parade. So the New York Ladies Stakes, 6 minutes to post, and we're going to bring you a post parade starting off with the 59-1 shot Fighter Wing. She comes into this race off of a second against Stakes Company, and Greg Geyer told us earlier in the day they're going to try to go with Rachel. The question is, can they?
Well, she can go with her for a while, and the question being, will Rachel Alexandra take back? As Calvin Burrell told us, that's his goal, is to get her back off of the pace. She's going to be sharp, and Calvin's going to have his hands full trying to do that.
The follow-up to an 8-for-8 campaign, which produced $2.7 million, starts today for Rachel Alexandra. There she she is at 1-9, bigger and better here at the age of 4. Zardana, she comes in from California off of a 4th to St. Trinian's, who was well beat in the Santa Anita handicap.
And this filly is tactical. She can do anything that David Flores wants to. David kind of tipped his hand that he may be sending this filly to the lead.
Unforgotten, well beaten at Gulfstream Park in the Sunshine Millions Distaff. Her last win came in a stake race at Delta Downs here in Louisiana. And Clear Sailing, kind of the horse that people think if somebody's going to beat Rachel, it's going to be Clear Sailing.
She's only started 4 times, a winner of her last 3. Shane Sellers is very high on this filly, thinks that she has something special, thinks he has a shot here with an unfit, Rachel Alexandra.
5 minutes to post to the New Orleans Ladies Stakes here live from Fairgrounds. When we come back, the return of Rachel Alexandra.
The perfect season, 8 for 8, including 5 Grade 1 victories.
And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra has defeated the Kentucky Derby winner, Mine by 3/4 of a length.
50 opponents faced, 50 opponents defeated.
Here's a filly for the ages, a Haskell legend, Rachel Alexandra did it!
3-year-old champion filly, 2009 Horse of the Year.
Oh, a tour de force by the super filly, Rachel Alexandra. Kevin Morrell isn't moving a muscle on her.
Rachel Alexandra, brilliant winner of the Kentucky Oaks.
Rachel Alexandra, her 4-year-old debut, next, live from Fairgrounds.
She's back. Rachel Alexandra, 2 minutes to post to her 2010 debut for trainer Steve Asmussen. She did nothing wrong back in 2009. She beat the boys 3 times, concluding with her scintillating performance in the Grade 1 Woodward. And so far, she's acting well out on the track, and that was a concern for Steve Asmussen.
Her behavior's been great from the time she came into the paddock, out to the racetrack. Calvin Burrell sitting there just very relaxed himself. Got his feet kicked out of the stirrups, just walking the park right now.
When we deal with horses like this, there's so many good things to be said about them. Oftentimes, we search for things to kind of to knock or go against. And we found ourselves with a situation like that, and not on our sides personally, but a lot of people were questioning her workout 2 back, saying it wasn't that great. And even Steve said it wasn't as quick as they wanted it to be, referencing the March 2nd work. But the fact of the matter is, this filly is coming back off of an extended layoff, and that's really the big question that everybody has in this whole Rachel Alexandra discussion.
Well, it would be a little bit worrisome, I think, if it wasn't who she is, Rachel Alexandra, just for the fact that these horses, they do change, but you would expect this filly to improve going to a 4-year-old from 3-year-old. She looks stronger. I am looking for a big effort from her.
Hasn't been seen in 6 months. We'll see her in about 60 seconds. Stay tuned when we come back. The inaugural New Orleans Ladies Stakes live from Fairgrounds. She's already been compared to the greatest that this game has seen. Ruffian comes to mind when you try to discuss what Rachel Alexandra is as far as a racehorse. Now she comes back at the age of 4. We've talked about it. A lot of people have talked about it. She's coming back bigger, stronger, more filled out as physically with Rachel Alexandra, and now we get a chance to see her in less than 60 seconds.
And I think what we've seen already, what we've already witnessed, is that she's matured mentally as well, the way she's behaving out here. People don't realize how important, how major that is. Races can be won and lost in the post parade, and that was Steve's biggest worry. Well, not to worry, Steve. She's being a lady out there and acting like the queen that she is, ears up, nice gentle walk there. And that's exactly what Calvin Burrell is wanting right now, saying that he needs this filly to relax. If we're going on to the Apple Blossom at Oaklawn Park, she's got to relax. That's the only way that we can beat Zenyatta. So using this race today to get her back off the pace and relax a little bit, hopefully.
If you're going against Rachel Alexandra, you've ridden Derby winners, Breeders' Cup winners, Gary. You're in the gate right now. How are you going to approach this race, knowing what she is, knowing what she can do, and knowing what you're sitting on? How do you feel as another rider aside from Calvin Burrell?
Well, first of all, you're a fan as well, and you're hoping that she does run a race, but you're also in the back of your mind hoping she doesn't run a race. I asked Shane Sellers earlier if he'll attack her early on. Figures to be behind Rachel Alexandra. He said, no, I've got no chance of beating her if I attack her early. He said, I'm just going to ride my race. So that's what they're going to do. They're going to ride enjoyed their races.
She's in the gate, Rachel Alexandra. A few more left to load for the New Orleans Ladies Stakes. Here live from Fairgrounds, John G. Dooley's got the call as all eyes are on Rachel.
At 1 mile and 1/16. They're in the gate. Here we go. Straightening out, clear sailing. Ready. And they're off in the New Orleans Ladies as Rachel Alexandra starts her 4-year-old campaign, and Fighter Wing is just inside Rachel Alexandra as they head to the first turn. Then Zardana, clear sailing, and Unforgotten has dropped back to last. Into the first turn, Corey Lattery, the pilot, with Fighter Wing, who's in front of the horse of the year, Rachel Alexandra, who's close up to Fighter Wing through the turn. Those leaders have 4. On Zardana, settled third, 3 lengths back to clear sailing, and Unforgotten is last to the quintet. The first quarter for Fighter Wing, 23-4, racing down the backstretch. It's Fighter Wing in front, just leading Rachel Alexandra, who shadows Fighter Wing's every move, and they have 5 furlongs to go in the New Orleans Ladies. Fighter Wing and Rachel Alexandra. Zardana is third, joined up the inside by Unforgotten, and now clear sailing has dropped back to last. They move past the half-mile pole. Fighter Wing covers 4 furlongs in 47-3, with Rachel Alexandra right there poised to challenge for Calvin Burrell. And Rachel Alexandra up now to Fighter Wing. Zardana is third, and they have 3 furlongs to go. Unforgotten and clear sailing trails. Rachel Alexandra in front. Here comes Zardana on the outside. Zardana comes to tackle Rachel Alexandra. And these two at the quarter pole, top of the stretch. Fighter Wing has dropped back, Unforgotten and clear sailing. Homeward bound to the New Orleans Ladies. Zardana narrowly. Rachel Alexandra at the rail is a neck behind a Zardana into this final Fairgrounds furlong. Zardana in front. Rachel Alexandra laying it all on the line. Inside the final 16th. Zardana, a test for the horse of the year. Rachel Alexandra is second, too. Zardana plays the spoiler in 1:43-2, defeating the horse of the year. Unforgotten third, then Fighter Wing, and clear sailing was last.
There were questions about her being ready for this race, and the question I have for you, Gary, was Calvin really going down and trying to get everything he could from Rachel Alexandra at this point?
Absolutely. When he went to his left hand at the 8th pole, he was definitely going for everything. He switches back to the right hand inside of the 16th pole, but you see him coming into the stretch here. You'll see Calvin go to his left hand as immediately when she switches into her right lead, straightens up into the stretch. Meantime, David Flores sitting chilly on Zardana.
He started riding, coming around the turn, and was carrying momentum, and it seemed like Calvin was just trying to wait as long as he possibly could.
Yeah, you know, I don't think Rachel really got a breather. She was pulling so hard early on that she wasn't relaxing. She wasn't breathing like you would like one to breathe. And she relaxed when she made the lead. The ears came up, and she got about 10 or 12 strides where she was relaxed, it looked like to me. And meantime, that's when David Flores attacked, pushed the button, asked her to run. And at that time, Rachel was asked for everything, and there was not a lot left the last 16th of a mile.
But hats off to John Sheriffs, who right now he's with his Zenyatta. You know that he's getting her ready for her comeback, and the expected showdown was supposed to be in a few weeks at Oaklawn Park. He sends a horse out here in Zardana with Arnold Zetcher. David Flores shows up in town, and they're able to take down the reigning horse of the year unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly, and you know, like you said, hats off to John Sheriffs, and hats off to the connections of Rachel Alexandra, because she did run a race today. They knew that she wasn't going to be fit, and you could kind of sense. We tried to talk to Jess Jackson prior to the race. He said, I don't want to talk. I just want the filly to come back sound, happy, and look forward to her next race. He said, today is not about winning or losing. It's about getting a race under her belt. Well, this should really tighten her up, because she did have a battle, and those are the kind of races sometimes you need to get them where they need to be.
Yeah, let's be realistic. It's been 6 months since she's run. They were very very realistic. They never got over the top with this filly throughout the entire afternoon here at Fairgrounds with Rachel Alexandra. We all expected to see her win like she had done so many times in the past, but sometimes it just does not work out that way, as you know, Lafitte and Jeff, as Rachel Alexandra has been defeated in her comeback here in 2010.
I was not alive when Upset defeated Manowar. I wasn't alive when Onion defeated Secretariat at Saratoga. But I would assume the fans on hand at the racetrack those afternoons felt a lot like we do as racing fans, actually seeing Rachel Alexandra lose in her 4-year-old debut.
But it's something that we feared because we had watched her work. She looked like she should be fit, but she wasn't really working as sharply as she did when we saw her last spring at Churchill Downs. And she was a short horse, and perhaps, you know, she needed this race badly. But she is going to very much have to step forward now off this race if she plans to be at her best in the Apple Blossom.
Your gut. Will there be a $5 million Apple Blossom, seeing as that Rachel Alexandra was just defeated? She ran hard. Do you think we'll see her run against Zenyatta in 4 weeks in Arkansas?
Not unless she's perfect and 100% and comes out of the race sound and is kicking the doors down, because it's too early in the year to try to make her do something that maybe she's physically not ready to do. She probably wasn't physically ready to do this. But on the other hand, the connection's figuring if we're going to run against Zenyatta, we have to have a race. And this was the race, and it might have been 2-3 weeks too early for her.
So John Sheriffs does defeat Rachel Alexandra with a mare whose name starts with a Z and ends with an A, but not the one we figured in a month. Not Zenyatta, Zardana. Her first start on the dirt, runs down the 2009 Horse of the Year, Rachel Alexandra.
This is a Brazilian-bred mare who wasn't even remotely considered to be in the class as Zenyatta, or, you know, I mean, you look at her form, and she did win a grade 2 races back at Hollywood Park, so she's not an empty stall. Don't get me wrong. She's a very high-class mare, but she's not Zenyatta.
I feel like I just had my stomach kicked in.
You know, I wanted her to win. I had this fear in the back of my mind that she wasn't ready. We'd watched her work. She was carrying her head a little funny in her last couple of the work. She wasn't really striding out like we thought she would.
Yep.
And even in this race today, you could see getting into the clubhouse.
Still lugging in a little bit. We've seen some of that in some of her recent work. So Rachel Alexandra turned her way, her first loss since November of her 2-year-old season. All right, now the focus shifts to the left coast in the Grade 1 Santa Margarita Invitational Handicap. Power of Voodoo is a scratch. Field of 8. All eyes on Zenyatta. Morning line of 1 to 9, and as expected, she is holding steady at 1 to 9.
Well, we might have thought that Rachel Alexandra wasn't quite 100%, but no such excuse for Zenyatta. She looks great. She's training as well, if not better than ever. There really is no excuses for Zenyatta. She is ready to run today.
9 furlongs the distance. Zenyatta looking to run her record to a perfect 15 for 15. John Sheriffs with 1 graded stakes win in the last 10 minutes, looking for yet another. And Zenyatta, who has been an absolute machine. She refuses to lose. And her pilot, Mike Smith, wonder if he just watched the New Orleans Ladies Handicap at Fairgrounds, as he is confident as ever, calls this mare, quote, bottomless, and a few months ago rode her to victory, the first ever female to win the Breeders' Cup Classic.
I don't think Mike is feeling too nervous. I think he's saying, gee, I get to ride Zenyatta again. This is fun. I didn't think I'd have this shot. And he does today in about 15 minutes.
And earlier today we heard from Ann Moss, and she was asked about Zenyatta's return and why she was brought back. And she said she was feeling so good. There was no way they were going to retire her as far as how good she was doing physically. As soon as we saw her on the work tab, the rumors started swirling. She might make a comeback, and here she is as a 6-year-old mare and a true legend in the making, who again looks to extend her winning streak to 15 for 15. Those are video game numbers.
You know, and one of the reasons why at age 6 she looks so good and she's so healthy and sound is that she's been treated right throughout her career. She didn't make any starts as a 2-year-old, didn't start till late in her 3-year-old season, didn't do a lot of shipping. She shipped once to Oakland and she shipped once to Churchill. She didn't even run that day. Otherwise, she's been very much protected.
It's a packed house. Everyone on hand to get an up-close and personal look at California's Queen of Racing, Zenyatta. Stay tuned. This was supposed to be the final start of her illustrious career.
This is unbelievable! Zenyatta!
She was even paraded on opening day to give her adoring fans the opportunity to say goodbye.
It's tough for everybody to lose somebody that you know, she's been around us for 5 years.
And then the Eclipse Awards, not the desired result for Team Zenyatta.
The Eclipse Award for the 2009 Horse of the Year, Rachel Alexandra.
Rachel had defeated Zenyatta in the ballot box, and just maybe that's why she's here now, training hard and ready to launch her 6-year-old campaign.
Zenyatta! What a performance, one we'll never forget!
The big mare is back with a vengeance. Her 2010 debut next from Santa Anita Park. Girl power is right, and her adoring faithful are here in big numbers to support Zenyatta, making her 6-year-old debut 1-9 for the Grade 1 Santa Margarita Invitational Handicap.
And at value, maybe at 1-9, because I don't think she's going to get beat today. Of course, I didn't think Rachel would get beat either, so you never know. They still have to go out there and run.
Millie Ball standing by with John Sheriffs. In case he wasn't aware, just had a mare by the name of Zardana defeat Rachel Alexandra 1,900 miles away. Millie.
Walking here with John Sheriffs. John, congratulations firstly on Zardana, not the filly we expected to be beating Rachel Alexandra. Your thoughts?
Well, you know, I'm just so happy for the Zetterds and Zardana. She ran a beautiful race.
We've got Zenyatta. She's handled everything perfectly so far. You couldn't ask for a filly to look any better. How encouraged are you by her most recent work, and does it stand out from any of her other works, John?
You know, it was a very sharp work, and it was one of her better works.
And finally, John, how many times has it entered your mind that Mike Smith and also Steve Willard, the exercise rider, believe that Zenyatta is better this year?
Well, you know, I'm just so happy for their support. And I'm just blessed to have Zenyatta.
We wish you the very best of luck today.
Thank you.
John Sheriffs, Lafitte.
All right, Millie, thanks so much. And there, the big mare is strutting her stuff, Jeff. I was too young to remember how the crowd responded to John Henry. Lava Man was a very popular horse in Southern California, but nothing like what we've seen over the last few months, specifically with Zenyatta leading up to and after the Breeders' Cup.
Half the people here at Santa Anita appear to be on the walking ring taking a look at Zenyatta. We never thought we'd see that scene again, but here she is again, back on hallowed ground here at Santa Anita, and hopefully she will pick up where she left off.
What makes her so good? What is it about her that has led her throughout 14 career starts and 14 career victories against the very best competition racing has had to offer?
You know, originally I thought it was just because she was just better than everybody else. But when her win in the Hirsch at Del Mar, when she won by a head that day, when she had 5 lengths to make up in the last 16th of a mile and still got there, that is a performance of a champion, and that's the it factor. That's what she has over other horses who may have as much natural ability as she has, but they don't have that class and that winning spirit, and that spirit has kept her perfect so far in 14 races.
However, this is a handicap, and with it there is going to be a major discrepancy. Zenyatta carrying 127 pounds, conceding several pounds to each of her rivals. Will the weight, in your opinion, carry a major impact on the outcome of this event?
I don't believe the spread will. I think if you really wanted to make this an equally type handicap where everybody had a shot,
make her start at the Rose Bowl.
That could have been one. In the absence of that, maybe 137, 138. Give her 4 go weight.
Like far lap kind of weight.
Right. There she is. You can hear the cheer of the people here who have gathered around to see the champion come on the racetrack.
Zenyatta, the big mare, in the Moss turquoise. Mike Smith back aboard, and how ironic that David Flores was her pilot during a couple of her first career victories, and it's David Flores today back in New Orleans defeating Rachel Alexandra for John Sheriffs with Zardana.
That is ironic. Yeah, David Flores took off Zenyatta. He had a Derby mount that year.
El Gato Malo.
And has regretted it ever since.
Zenyatta 1-9 moments away from the post parade for the 7 1/3 Santa Margarita Invitational Handicap. The last time we saw this scene, it was Zenyatta outmanned 11-1 in the $5 million Breeders' Cup Classic, taking her place in history and where she has been so devastating here at Santa Anita. You'll see her once again shortly in the post parade. Here is Dance to Mike, tuned 50-1 on the morning line. Spent all of last year in Canada today, her pro ride debut.
She's been off the board in her last 6 starts.
Pretty Catherine, 33-1 for Jerry Hollendorfer and Joel Rosario.
8th of 11 in the La Cañada last time out. She did win a 2 other than allowance race here December 28th.
Made for magic for the Magic Makers, AC Avila and Omar Barrio.
Off the board in her last 3 starts, has a 2nd place finish in an allowance race back in late December.
Pretty unusual. Chantel Sutherland riding for Barry Abrams.
Now she has got some form. She was the winner of the El Encino 3 races back. Good 3rd against a good field, the Sunshine Millions, and then most recently she was 5th in the Buena Vista.
Striking Dancer, the La Cañada winner for Kenny McPeak.
Likes to sit back and make a run. Striking Dancer may be in front of Zenyatta early. I don't know about late though.
7, Grisholm Castle, second at 17-1 in the La Cañada.
Kind of a mystery filly, only 5 starts. Very good second though in her U.S. debut in the La Cañada. See if she can move forward today for Ben Cecil.
Zenyatta, the 2008 Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic champ, the 2009 Breeders' Cup Classic champ.
She's probably thinking, I remember this place. Yes, yes, I'm back. I'm feeling good too.
Will the crowd respond to Trevor Denman announcing her presence on the racetrack? The Michael Jordan of our sport. Zenyatta with Mike Smith. John Sheriffs has banked more than $5.4 million for the Mosses. How proud they must be of this great mare, and certainly one of the all-time greats in the history of thoroughbred racing. There's Floating Heart for Mike Tabor and Todd Pletcher.
3rd in her last 2 starts, including the La Cañada. Another one who likes to lay back and then close. And they'll all be closing and trying to match strides with Zenyatta. Interesting to note, though, that Zenyatta, we talk about her being back here at Santa Anita. She actually trains at Hollywood Park.
Right.
So she vanned over a couple of days to go to school, get herself familiar with the surroundings again, and she seems very calm and composed out there.
She is working on a streak. 14 for 14 thus far. Here are the unbeatens that she is chasing. Pepper's Pride, Mr. Frisky, he was handed his first loss in the 1990 Kentucky Derby, and Hallowed Dreams, who rattled off 16 straight.
Hallowed Dreams, of course, Pepper's Pride, Southwest horses. Mr. Frisky did his early action, a lot of his early winning down in Puerto Rico.
Laz Barrera used to call him Mite Friki. Yeah, Mite Friki in the Santa Anita Derby. There she is, all by herself on the racetrack and in a class of her own. How much does Mike Smith have to worry about team riding, other jockeys trying to pin her up against the fence, carry her wide on both turns, making things as difficult as they possibly can? You know, this is a grade 1 event with a $250,000 purse.
You know, normally I would say he would be concerned, but you know something? I don't think any of the riders in here really believe they can win, but this is a grade 1 race for fillies and mares, and if I'm one of the owners or trainers, I'm telling my jockey, don't worry about winning. I want to finish 2nd or 3rd, get that grade 1 black type in the pedigree page. So don't go messing around with Zenyatta. Just get what you can get.
Is she at her very best over this pro ride racing surface here at Santa Anita?
Well, you know, she's 5 for 5. Of course, she's perfect everywhere else too, but she's never really run a bad race there. You know, she was somewhat extended, I thought, a little bit in the Ladies' Secret. That was her first start since to her. She won by a length and a quarter. She wasn't completely dominating that day. But then you compare that with the Breeders' Cup Classic, and you're saying, how could she like any other track better than this?
What you cannot breed for, you won't read in a stat line. Either a horse is born with it or isn't. Either an athlete is born with it or isn't. The killer instinct. Michael Jordan had it. Kobe Bryant has it. Zenyatta has it. She knows how special she is. She acts like a superstar on the racetrack. She parades out in front of the crowd knowing all eyes are on her. Her absolute refusal to lose, even when perhaps she doesn't have her best fastball, she still finds a way to find the finish line first.
Funny thing is that Mike Smith has said that even in the Breeders' Cup Classic, he didn't think that he had to get to the bottom of her. She saw 4, 5, 6, 10 horses in front of her at the top of the stretch. She said, I got to go buy those. Go buy them. And that's what she did. So she only seems to do what is necessary. She very rarely wins by a lot of lengths. In fact, you're looking at her form. She won by 4.5 lengths in the Apple Blossom, coincidentally enough. And that was her largest margin of victory. So she doesn't always blow you away, but she gets there when it counts.
One to 9 as we have just about reached post time. Zenyatta looking to rattle off her 15th consecutive victory, and Mike Smith. Zenyatta here at Santa Anita, where Jeff mentioned, has rattled off 5 consecutive victories. Normally, like she did in the Breeders' Cup Classic, she comes from so far back. How far off the pace do you expect to see her this afternoon?
It's an interesting point, Lafitte, because if you look at the form, you're not going to find a real dyed-in-the-wool front runner. There is no real speed in the race. They'll probably be going very slowly early. I know that Mike's going to ride this race confidently. He should, and he normally lets her drop way back. But there's a point where they're going to be going so slow that if you take her back to last, she might be going a half and 50, which really doesn't do her a whole lot of good. So I think he'll put her wherever she's comfortable.
And welcome to our viewers on ESPN. Live coverage of the Grade 1 Santa Margarita Invitational Handicap. You are looking live at Zenyatta. 1-5, winner of last year's Breeders' Cup Classic. A true legend in the making, a living legend. She has won 14 consecutive starts. Supposed to be retired after last season, Jeff. She is back for a 6-year-old campaign.
And she's trying to hold up her end of the bargain today. We've already seen Rachel Alexandra upset in her comeback today. And she's going to try to make good on her part of keeping that rivalry alive. Of course, the horse of the year being beaten today, Zenyatta rather. I think she is going to be ready to make amends for that.
Millie Ball, Jeff Siegel, I'm Lafitte Pinkai, and today marking the return of the champions. Rachel Alexandra, 2009 Horse of the Year, defeated in her 4-year-old debut. And the reason this is so significant, 1 month from now, there is an event scheduled, the Apple Blossom Handicap at Oaklawn Park in Arkansas, with a potential $5 million purse if Rachel Alexandra shows up, if Zenyatta shows up. That seemingly could be somewhat in jeopardy after Rachel Alexandra was defeated earlier this afternoon. Millie Ball standing by with more on Zenyatta. Millie.
Well, Lafitte, I just can't tell you enough how good Rachel Alexandra looks for, Zenyatta looks for a filly who's coming off of a layoff. She looks so tight. There isn't an inch of fat on her. Her dapples are the size of apples on her rear end. She did her usual dance. She knows it's race time, and you just couldn't look, ask for a filly to look or mare look any better than she does.
Thanks so much, Millie. She is a superstar, Jeff, and she knows it.
She looks classy out there. She looks like she's ready to do whatever is asked of her. Zenyatta. Maybe she wasn't Horse of the Year last year. Maybe she will be this year, but first things first, and that's her debut this year in the Santa Margarita.
She puts her perfect, undefeated record on the line, moving her way into the starting gate. Zenyatta's 6-year-old debut right here, right now. Post time for the Grade 1 Santa Margarita Invitational Handicap. Here's Trevor Denman.
Away they go, and as usual, Zenyatta was a little flat-footed, lost a length or two, and she's going to be taken to the back of the pack. Dance to My Tune is going straight out to lead them. Made for Magic moves up in the second spot, and Gripsome Castle is on the outside. Floating Heart going to drop in behind the leaders, and then comes Pretty Catherine. Striking Dancers behind that. Pretty Unusual is second last, and Zenyatta not in any hurry at all here. Mike Smith, as usual, just sitting patiently on Zenyatta. She's got her ears cocked, though. She's a good 9 lengths off the lead. They go to the 3/4 pole, and it's Dance to My Tune, just at a sensible pace, not flying, leads it by just over a length. Made for Magic is right there in second, a gap of 3 to Gripsome Castle, and then comes Floating Heart. Now here's Pretty Unusual starting to improve down at the rail. Pretty Catherine is in there as well, and Striking Dancer on the far side, and Zenyatta still just loping along at the back now, ears gawking back and forth as she runs to the half mile. Zenyatta's giving them a good 10 length start. Less than a half mile to run now, and it's Dance to My Tune, a length and a half in front. Made for Magic is second, a gap of 4 to Gripsome Castle. Floating Heart on the far side, down at the rail, Pretty Unusual. In behind that, Striking Dancer, then Pretty Catherine, and let's see, Zenyatta is still last as they come to the quarter pole now. She's got 8 lengths to make up, and Mike Smith starting to get Zenyatta into it now. She's pricking her ears, looking for somewhere to run. Where is Zenyatta gonna go? She's got nowhere to go. She's gonna sneak down onto the rail now. They come to home. Dance to My Tune. Zenyatta now just looking at her though. Zenyatta is playing with them. Yet another moves right now. You don't like horse racing.
The big mare is back with a vengeance, and the Mosses, a jubilant scene here at Santa Anita. Some anxious moments on the far turn, but Zenyatta remains undefeated, her 15th consecutive victory.
That was spooky there for a while, Lafitte. She had a lot to do in a short period of time, and yet she won under wraps. Pretty good comeback, would you say?
This is the killer instinct we're talking about, like Kobe with the clock running down, Michael Jordan type instinct. Zenyatta, another victory at Santa Anita Park as we send you back to Sports Center. And you look at that scene, and I can imagine Jerry Moss's heart in his throat. Zenyatta still last, turning for home, and Mike Smith with some serious traffic issues.
You know, I was a little worried here because Mike did not take the overland route, and I'm thinking if he feels that he's got the best horse, he's going to do that. And by diving to the rail, he's kind of telling me that maybe he's thinking, I can't do that. I can't win that way today. But it opened up for her, ears up, galloping along. Did he ever hit her? I don't think so.
The stick is uncocked. This is only going to look like a victory by a length and a half. So much the best. As soon as she found room, she refuses to lose.
What a scene here, too. I mean, this is like the Breeders' Cup all over again.
You know, I feel like this must have been what it felt like when Seabiscuit won his big cap. And what a fan favorite. And for racing fans or sports fans, there is something special about perfection. Like the New England Patriots, had they won that Super Bowl and finished up the season 19-0. For Zenyatta, I'm sure a good portion of the crowd here at Santa Anita felt like they were going to witness her first loss turning for home.
I tell you, at the quarter pole, I wasn't all that confident. I mean, she was coming to them in hand, but she still had to find room. You know, that got a little dicey there at the 8th pole where Mike had to dive to the rail. But once he got to the rail, then you could see that she had the momentum and she was going to sweep on by. How about a 50-1 shot running second? And that was the #1, Dance to My Tune.
Millie Ball with the winning owner, Jerry Moss. Millie.
Jerry, I'm going to walk down with you, but you certainly made the right decision to bring her back in 2010. Did it match your expectations, Jerry?
Going this way.
Did it match your expectations?
Oh, so far. Thank you very much.
Well, you brought the crowd out. Did your heart stop for a second at the top of the stretch, Jerry?
Just a little bit.
She's the best. She's the best. John Sheriff's, a double for John Sheriff's, the best trainer in the whole world.
Congratulations to you both.
All right, Millie, thanks so much. More on Zenyatta's victorious return, but first, the Rebel Stakes is on tap.
Today's Stakes Showcase is presented by Claiborne Farm.
Dublin and Corey Nakatani. Dublin moving in. They're in the gate. And they're off in the Rebel. Field away quickly, and Cardiff Giant tightens it up a bit coming away from there, but does get the lead. And now Royal Express is going to go out and challenge. And Royal Express takes the lead away from Cardiff Giant. Bango shoots up into 3rd position to his outside. Noble Promise is 4th. Long Rail Looking at Lucky is 5th, about 5 lengths off the leader. Then it's Dublin and Pleasant Storm as they go around the first turn, getting the opening quarter in 23-3. Royal Express with Perry Compton up has the lead of a length on Obango. It's 2 lengths back to Cardiff Giant at the rail in 3rd. Noble's Promises on the outside in 4th by 2.5. Then Looking at Lucky, Dublin, and still trailing is Pleasant Storm as these 3-year-olds continue down the backstretch in the Rebel. And Royal Express continues to lead this one a short length and a half, maybe over Obango through a half mile, 47-3. Middle of the track, that is Noble's Promise. Dublin is already on the move. Looking at Lucky, swings to the middle of the track to the outside of Cardiff Giant as they head on to the final turn of the Rebel. The leader still is Royal Express. Obango is 2nd. Noble's Promise and Dublin both moving quickly. Looking at Lucky's 2 lengths back in 5th. They go past the 3/4 in 1:12-1. And here they come into the stretch of the Rebel. It is Dublin and Noble's Promise side by side. And here comes Looking at Lucky and Gomez Gomez to the outside, and the three big stars are heads apart as they straighten out for the run through the lane. You have Nobles Promise and Robbie Alvarado at the rail with the lead. Looking at Lucky at Gomez on the outside. Dublin is right there in third past the 16th pole. Nobles Promise digging in, looking at Lucky, coming back. One great surge at the end. It's gonna take a photo. Looks like looking at Lucky over Nobles Promise, with Dublin finishing third and Bango fourth.
What a finish in the 2010 Rebel Stakes. Shades of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile with Looking at Lucky attacking on the outside. But here's where the theatrics start, completely sawed off midway up the backstretch.
He got attacked right here as he gets steady and checked, and he actually has to break stride there from the pressure from the outside. And Garrett Gomez saying, what is going on here? And he was a little rank early anyway. This would have gotten a much lesser horse beat, or even a slightly lesser horse beat. Then he was able to re-rally on the outside. Do you think he got up, Lafitte?
That Terry Wallace called Looking at Lucky. Nobles Promise runs his heart out in his 3-year-old debut. Now here comes the absolute buzz horse wise guy of the planet, Dublin, 3 wide on the far turn. He's going to flatten out late. Looking at Lucky about 4 wide with Nakatani. And what a stretch duel unfolds here between Nobles Promise, who gets first run, and Looking at Lucky bears down, lengthens his stride, and maybe in the shadow of the wire, picks off Nobles Promise.
And Garrett really going to work here with a left-handed stick, and you can see on the inside Nobles Promise desperately trying to hang on. And right here it looks like he's going to, but right at the wire, who gets their head down? I don't know. Maybe the outside? I don't know.
And it's a tough angle,
It's
Jeff.
a bad angle, yeah.
And it looks like from that angle, Looking at Lucky, but I tell you one thing. You can say whatever you want about Looking at Lucky if you're a believer or otherwise. You push him into a corner, he is not going to back out from a dogfight. You bloody his nose, he's going to come back swinging.
Well, he showed me a lot of courage today because he really had to lay his body down there. Win, lose, or draw, he would have earned it.
Lucky get up. Looking at Lucky over Nobles Promise.
There it is.
Dublin in
he got
third,
there.
2, 6, 7, 4
Wow.
for the 2-year-old champ. A victorious return to the winner's circle. Meanwhile, the Zenyatta ceremony taking place behind us. More from Zenyatta and Looking at Lucky at Oaklawn. You're watching Return of the Champions on HRTV. There is the great Zenyatta. And I'm talking about a packed house, Jeff.
Yeah.
They have absolutely rushed around the winner's circle here at Santa Anita after seeing yet another courageous effort from Zenyatta. Now 15 for 15. Unreal.
127 pounds like it was water on her back. No big deal. And she put all her work really into the last furlong. They went slow early. Not as slow as I thought, though. Came home obviously very strongly and winning under wraps. This was actually a perfect comeback race for her because she wasn't knocked about. It wasn't a hard taxing race. She ran maybe from the quarter pole to the 8th pole. That's all she had to do.
That was moments ago. Mike Smith, who I'm sure thought his ride in the Breeders' Cup Classic aboard Zenyatta would be his last, paraded here on opening day, Jeff, just 7 short weeks ago.
And she looked magnificent that day and looked even better today. And I'll tell you what, John said she's put on a little bit of weight, which is normal after inactivity. If she wasn't tight today, I can't imagine what she's going to be like next time.
She had been training up a storm at Hollywood Park. And for the Mosses, Jerry and Ann leading her back into the winner's circle with her groom. Mike Smith aboard, all smiles. Won his Breeders' Cup Classic last fall aboard Zenyatta. And while this wasn't a big cap or a Breeders' Cup race, the enthusiasm, the electricity from the crowd was that of a marquee racing event in this sport out here at Santa Anita.
Loud. I mean, the last furlong here, I mean, it was just as loud as it gets. And Zenyatta beating Dance to My Tune, who went off at 50-1. Floating Heart finishing third. If you wagered on the race, there are your payoffs. And Zenyatta at 260. 148 and a fifth. Mike Smith and Zenyatta.
Millie Ball with the winning pilot, Mike Smith. Millie.
Thanks very much, Lafitte. Mike, that mare has some hell of an engine under her bonnet. What went on as you were coming around the turn here?
Well, I was, it was her first race back, and I talked to John earlier, and he said, it's a mile and 1/8, and it's her first race back, and that's really all he said. But in saying that, he said a whole lot. In other words, he's saying, make it as easy as possible if you can. And so I didn't want to, wheel out and go 6, 7 wide, and she could have done that and probably still won, but then it would have been a taxing race on her. And I said, you know what? Pretty Unusual was moving down inside really well, and Chantel was looking for room, and I was pretty certain she was going to find some. So I just followed her through there, and then when she wasn't able to kick on a little bit, I had to just kind of ease on over to the inside one more path, and then I got on through, and then, man, it was pretty much, well, it was really all her all the way around there, to tell you the truth. I just did a little guiding.
Does it surprise you, as big as she is, that she is as athletic as she is?
It doesn't anymore, no. I mean, but from the first time I got on her, I would have never thought that any horse of this size could do it, what she can do, and to be as agile as she is. And she showed me the first time I rode her that she was, and ever since then it's just gotten better.
Congratulations, you keep her winning numbers intact. She is perfect.
Thank you.
And my question to you is, what are you going to do with all this hardware? Do you designate a special trophy chest to Zenyatta in your house?
Actually, there is one because she has quite a few, and it's wonderful. She's such a gift. And gosh, how about that John Sheriff's? I mean, that's the best trainer in the world, and he's taken the time to make her who she is, and that's why she's still having fun, and that's why we're here. So,
Jerry, can you compare Zenyatta to anything that has happened to you in your lifetime?
Maybe The Lonely Bull by Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass, because that's what put me here to enjoy this.
It's so special for the fans here to get a chance to have Zenyatta running back in 2010. We thank you for that. Has this lived up to your expectations, Jerry?
Oh, in every way, and we're just excited. She's back. She looks amazing, and everybody's happy.
Have you had a chance to see Rachel's race, and are you looking forward to the Apple Blossom?
We did. We watched it in the paddock, and I'm sorry she lost, but she lost to a really better horse today, and we'll see what happens in the next race.
Zardana might have got her a little bit fitter too.
Yeah, I think Zardana will be probably try to get to that same race. That'll be fine.
Jerry, one final question to you. You've never walked away disappointed from Zenyatta. Is there anything still you really feel you need to accomplish for this mare?
I just think we enjoy watching her run every race. I think it's John's done such an amazing job training this horse. So after each race, we look at her and examine her, let her relax, and see where we go next. It's sort of the only way to go. We're actually pointed in this particular time to a race on April 9, which we intend to make. But after that, we don't have any idea where we're going. And wherever this horse takes us, we'll be happy to go along.
Well, every owner is just envying you right now. Any owner could dream to be in your footsteps. So congratulations for a brilliant performance and bringing her back.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you very much.
Go Zenyatta. I mean, wow. Wow.
That's the Mosses and the feet.
All right, Millie, thanks so much, Jeff. Is there a sense of satisfaction amongst Zenyatta fans, the Mosses, John Sheriffs, who beat Rachel Alexandra today, seeing that perhaps they felt they should have won Horse of the Year? Rachel Alexandra won Horse of the Year. She got beat today. Zenyatta remains perfect.
That's true, but Zenyatta didn't beat Rachel today. And Rachel today wasn't the Rachel maybe she'll see next month. So there's still some arguing to do, I'm sure, but I just can't wait to see them get together. If, in fact, they will, it'll be a great race. But Zenyatta now, she's got maybe the upper hand because she won, and she looked as good as ever doing it.